Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger. My friends, today is a very special video as this is my review of Street Fighter 6. I was provided an early copy by Capcom and I'll be going over every aspect of the game. Now, to note, very obviously, I'm not a big review outlet. I'm not IGN, I'm not GameSpot. This is a review that comes from, well, someone who's very heavily into fighting games. In fact, this is a fighting game dedicated YouTube channel, right? So, as far as being fully objective, I'll be honest with you, I like the game. As a fighting game player, I'm already inclined to like Street Fighter, and I do like this game, straight up. So that's just a matter of disclosure up front, I suppose. So with Street Fighter 6, there's a lot of things to talk about, so this video will be time-stamped for your ease of use. As obviously there is the core Street Fighter gameplay, which is as good as it's been in a very, very long time, but also other things like the World Tour mode, a big, expansive, semi-open world RPG, which is very much unlike anything we've had in Street Fighter games, well, ever. And that said, that's where we will start. So before anything else, let's talk about the World Tour mode. So World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6 is very different, to say the least. It is an open world RPG, straight up. You level up, you build your character, and you can make them look any way you want, as seen by the character I chose to create. And also in, say, Saints Row style fashion, you can easily change your character's look at any time you so wish, either by changing the character's clothing, and there is a lot of clothing options, or you can just straight up go to the plastic surgeon and change anything about yourself. Whatever gender you wish to be, how big, how small, how fat, how thin, your voice, everything. So at any point you feel like changing things up for a certain look, a certain style, you can freely do so. There are two open world hubs, Metro City, which you've probably seen footage of in the preview process, and also Nashal. And Nashal does open later in the storyline. And so what is World Tour mode? Well, World Tour is you create your character, whoever you want to be, and you travel throughout the world of Street Fighter. If I had to make a direct comparison to any one game, I guess the closest thing World Tour would be is to the Yakuza series. So throughout Nashal and Metro City, there is all sorts of crazy things to see and do. All sorts of mini games, all sorts of side quests, all sorts of Easter eggs to see. Might just necessarily just be in the background. You can't, do anything with it, but you see it and you're like, hey, I know that. If you're a fan of the Street Fighter universe, there's going to be a lot of things that'll make you smile. I don't want to give too many things away, but you'll be very happy with it. Now, as far as the gameplay loop goes, the combat is 2D combat like Street Fighter. You find masters throughout the world, people who will teach you how to fight, and these are the famed Street Fighter characters, and basically you can borrow their movesets. As far as fighting styles go, as far as your basic normals, your buttons, those will always be fixed. You can only pick one character at a time. But as far as special moves go, you can mix and match. So you can have Chun-Li spinning bird kick with Zangief's spinning pile driver with Dalsim's teleports. No problem. You can freely do them all. And it can lead to some pretty wild gameplay options that, well, frankly, you normally would not be allowed to do in Street Fighter due to balance reasons. But since you're the hero of this story, balance, well, it's not really a concern now, is it? And also, speaking of the story, I don't want to give away too many details, but it is very much your story. So you are in the world of Street Fighter and you will meet and interact with the classic Street Fighter characters, but they are more on the periphery of things. It is your story specifically. And surrounding characters like Li Fen, Chun-Li's disciple, and your rival Bosch are much bigger figures in the story than, say, Ryu or Ken. The mainline Street Fighter characters are more side content than main plotline, just so you know. That said, they are fantastic side content. So the core mainline characters, you can make them your master, learn their moves as we discussed, but there's also multiple forms of leveling up with them, both your master level where you learn moves, and also effectively what you would call like an S-Link, like say Persona, a bond level where you get to know the characters. And this to me was where a lot of the best moments of World Tour mode was, as they let you just have a window into the character's soul and just give you a lot of fun moments. So the one character I mastered everything for, the master level, and maxed out the social bonds with was E Honda. For reference, it took me about 18 hours to roll credits on World Tour mode. I did not do every side quest, and I only managed to max out Honda. So if you were a bit more diligent and, a bit more planning ahead, maybe you can max out more than one character. But for me, that was all I could do at the time. And also, just because you roll credits doesn't necessarily mean you beat World Tour mode, as there is main story quests after the fact as well, but I'll leave you to figure that one out. But as for the master stuff, I'll just give you an idea of what Honda can do. There's so many fun stories, so many fun bits, like people complaining Honda Sumo is not real sumo. And for Honda, he just is doing a more advanced sumo than the average person is used to. That's how he thinks about it. And turns out Honda's got some serious thoughts about a lot of things and how they relate to sumo. Like the John Lennon song, Imagine. That song is about sumo, according to E. Honda. And you know what? I can't necessarily say he's wrong. I haven't talked to John Lennon myself lately. But these are the kind of things you get when you keep talking to Honda, and this is the case for all the characters as well. There's so many unique arts, unique little stories for every character, and you get them just by the course of playing the game, leveling up your bonds with the character, and just going forward. Your masters will also send you texts throughout the course of the game. Honda specifically, not the most social media adept and aware, and if you think Honda's a little strange, wait till you see Ryu. I won't spoil that for you. Ryu's something else. You can also get personalized quests from all of the masters, and they differ character to character fitting for each character. Lily wants you to explore the world and take pictures. Honda wants you to eat just a lot of food, and you get various rewards for this as well. As far as the masters go, it's absolutely one of the best features of the game. If you like the Street Fighter characters and the Street Fighter lore, you will be very, very happy with just everything the master system has to offer. Some other things to note about World Tour mode. If you do not know how to play core Street Fighter, this game will teach you. There are many tutorials in World Tour mode disguised as side quests, giving you rewards, money, items, all that kind of stuff, and teaching you a lot of the core base concepts of the game. If you're an old pro, don't worry. Once again, they're side quests, so you can just skip them. But if you actually want to learn proper Street Fighter, they are there for you, and they're very handy to be there for sure. Besides the obvious story elements, which I don't want to spoil too much for you, there's a lot of platforming and puzzle solving in the game, where you can use your character's special abilities, like the moves the masters, the main Street Fighter characters teach you. This particular angle here, spinning bird kick wasn't far enough, but sumo headbutt was. So I could sumo headbutt past the boats through the water, and if you fall in the water, you die, because that's video game rules, right? And sumo headbutt was the magic skill that helped me pass that little test. And as for just the world itself, there's so many people you can just walk up and fight and talk to and get quests from and learn about. There's just a lot of content there. And a lot of characters, you can see what they have on them if you choose to fight them. Like this lady had a lot of money. So you know what? I'm going to sumo headbutt the back of her spine and beat her up and take her money. And the game just lets you do that. Sometimes the items the characters have are very valuable, like one-off like costumes or accessory bits you will not find anywhere else. So it actually does behoove you to kind of inspect everyone and see what items they may have on them. And you can choose to take them on head on the honorable way or sneak attack them, whatever works for you. Some other things to note about the World Tour mode. One, there is transmog. So yes, you can have the look of the items you want with the stats of the items you want. They're not exclusive to each other. So obviously my amazing custom character has the look I crafted myself here. After he took on E. Honda's tutelage, he grew a couple 100 pounds and a couple feet from the earlier footage. But the stats he has are completely different from the items that are appearing. So transmog is a go. That's great. The open world itself is not gigantic, but you will want to unlock as many fast travel points as possible just to save time. Those are usually related to side quests. They're not that long, but once you get them, you'll be glad you unlock the fast travel point. If you play on arcade stick, hitbox, leverless, whatever, I got great news for you. The game lets you sign in as player 2 with a controller, and you can use the controller to do everything you want to do in World Tour, in the overworld, just at large. And then when you get to the actual fights, then you can just pick up your arcade stick or whatever and go. So the game is very much optimized for the overworld for a controller. Let's put it that way. If you're going to use an arcade stick or whatever to move around in the open world, you're not going to have the best time. So the fact that that's an option, and this is also the case for Battle Hub online as well, just so you know, that is absolutely fantastic. You need 2 controllers, sure, but if you play on stick, you want to fight on stick, and just that being an option for you that you can move around in the world with a controller and fight on stick when the time comes, that is great. Also, when you're starting out in World Tour mode, do not be surprised if not everything is unlocked right away. I think it took about 3-ish hours before I got basic concepts like parry and drive impact. And it might be quicker if you don't do as many side quests early on, but they're definitely easing you into the experience. It does start pretty easy. I will say I did not really struggle much at all as, you know, a traditional fighting game player up until about the end of the game. By the end of the game, things got pretty real. Like the first half of my time, I didn't even use like a single item. Some of the fights at the end of the game, I'm burning through every single item I have. And there's a currency called miles that are effectively like continues. And I had to burn through a lot of those continues in the final sequences before the end credits rolled. All in all, though, I will say World Tour Mode was a very fun addition, and I am very glad to have played it. If anything, it finally solved the mystery why E. Honda's first name is Edmund. As for why it is, I'll leave that for you to find out. Now, let's just talk the core gameplay, the part where Street Fighter is, well, Street Fighter. And I'm very glad to tell you it's as good as you hoped. Now, for a lot of you watching this, you probably have had a chance to play Street Fighter 6 at some point. Either through one of the 3 betas, 2 closed, 1 open, or the playable demo that's out and you can play Ryu and Luke pretty freely. Maybe not all the roster, but still, it's all there, and man, the core gameplay is good. So a lot of the mainline Street Fighter experience is still exactly what you think, right? Hold back the block, 6-button game, light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick. Everyone's got their own unique special moves, game plan to go for, supers, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff you expect, it's all there. So on that aspect, on that front, they did not reinvent the wheel. It's Street Fighter. It is core Street Fighter, and that is not deviated from. What makes Street Fighter 6 is the side systems, like say, the drive system. Those are the little green bars below your health bar, and let me tell you, those bars might as well just be as important as your actual health bar, because that dictates everything you can do in this game. Your EX moves, called OD moves in this game, overdrive, that's relying on the drive meter. Your ability to parry a very big deal in this game, that needs your drive meter. Your ability to drive rush, where you can dash forward, that takes your drive meter. Your ability to drive impact, which is the armored kind of checkmate move in Street Fighter 6, that takes your drive meter. Everything important takes your drive meter in this game. And a big part of the beauty of Street Fighter 6 is you start with full drive meter at the beginning of every round. It's not like a super move where you have to build it over the course of a match. You get all of it right away, so if you want to go crazy right out of the gate, you absolutely can. Of course, there is a fairly major penalty, and that is the burnout state, where if you use up all the drive meter, well, now you have none left to work with, and things are gonna start being a little bit dire. So with no bars, no resource, you obviously can't do your fancy moves for one. And for two, when you start blocking moves, they become more advantage on block, and you start taking chip damage as well. Let me show you a fairly scary scenario here. So here, Jamie goes a little crazy abusing his drive metered moves, basically went too offensive too fast, and now is in the burnout state. And due to it was put into a potentially checkmate scenario. So normally EX 100 hand slap from Honda is disadvantage on block, but when you're up against someone in burnout, it becomes advantage on block. So if Jamie does anything other than his invincible super move here, because EX hands is plus, he's gonna get hit. So I could do this over and over and over, and I also had super meter myself, so at the end of this last sequence, I go for my own super. Since Jamie's in burnout, he takes chip damage, and I got a chip kill. The only time you can take chip damage or be chip killed is when you are in the burnout state. So it's something you want to avoid more than anything else in this game. That said, the penalty is so big because the things you can do with the drive meter are so powerful. So if you lose it all, you got to pay the penalty. Let's look at the drive impact. Once again, everyone has this move. 2 hits of armor on frame 1. That means every character in the game has a defensive move. There are no haves and have-nots anymore. Everyone has a defensive option, and if you call someone out, you can get a combo, as you can see. It also exists to punish passive play. Even if you block it, if you're near the corner, you get bounced, which gives a guaranteed combo. The corner is scarier in Street Fighter 6 than in any other Street Fighter game ever. Imagine taking all this just because you blocked. You didn't even get hit, you blocked. And this is still what you're gonna eat for that. Drive Impact is very, very good. Drive Rush, another fully universal mechanic every character can use thanks to the drive meter. Lets you dash forward or lets you cancel attacks into a dash forward, so multiple options. And it reinvents combos and pressure in this game. So here's a basic hit confirm combo, but say I want to drive rush it instead. So now I can do my first 2 hits, drive rush cancel, and then get a much bigger combo in the end. The first attack you do out of a drive rush has more advantage than it normally ever would, allowing you to create combos that are normally not possible. And because it allows you to dash at your foe whenever you want, it allows for all sorts of fun and interesting gimmicks. And the drive parry, once again, available to every character in the game, universal defensive mechanic, and well, it lets you parry moves. Say in this scenario, you know Kimberly's going to attack, you block, but you lose a little bit of your meter for blocking. That's the penalty for blocking in this game. At bare minimum, if you parry instead, you gain meter instead of losing meter, so net benefit. And if your timing's very good, you can do perfect parries with the time stop and get punishes instead. So now you can turn the tables on predictable offense. And with all these systems and just a lot of what the characters themselves, what they can do, it makes just for some really wild gameplay. Even some traditionally quote-unquote boring characters like E Honda can do absolutely wild things in this game. It's a real triumph of the gameplay systems and the character design. Pretty much every note hits it out of the park. And on that note, the gameplay, very good. The characters, the roster, fantastic. Pretty much every archetype you could hope for is here, from mix-up characters to Shotos, to grapplers, to zoners. We got everything here, a style for everybody. And the characters themselves are very well designed, have large, articulate move sets. They can all do a lot of things, and that's multiplied by the drive system as well. And some of the quote-unquote boring characters like Honda and Ryu are some of the most stylish characters in this game, in my opinion. And DJ highlights this better than anyone, in my opinion. Yes, there's a lot of the new characters, and the new characters are great. But DJ is, well, he's DJ. What else can you say? If you know, you know, right? DJ has never been much but Guile, but worse. And even when he's a good character tier-wise, he's still just Guile, but worse. He has the not Sonic Boom, and he has the not Flash Kick, and he's not really his own man. And that has definitely changed in this game. Like, he's still got some of the classics. He still throws the air slashers, the max outs, right? And he can throw 2 at a time without spending meter in this game. And he has feints, fake outs. He still has Sobats, and he has fake outs as well. And he can go for, say, a small little combo fake out and go for a throw right after the fact, which is fun. And, you know, he still has the up kicks, right? They're there. But he also has fake out up kicks that turn it into a regular jump. There's a lot of trickery here. Like, he can hit you, you can block, fake up kick, and then he crosses you up, and then he'll actually combo you on the other side. That's not really something people can do in Street Fighter, let alone the fact that he can dance for meter. Yes, you heard me right. He can dance for meter. So if you want to just drop the fight and have some fun, DJ's exactly that kind of character. He's so much more advanced and fun than he's ever been before. Not the least of which, those feints are also more useful just outside of the feint itself. It can lead to combos. Like, he can link after the fact. He can go for stand heavy punch, feint fireball, and stand light kick and get a combo after the fact. And now we got super interesting links. They turned DJ into one of the most mechanically expressive and interesting characters in this game. And if that's not a victory for the game as a whole, I don't know what is. Because DJ used to be the most dull character there ever was. And now he's just about the coolest damn character in this game. So the core gameplay is there. The system supporting the game with the drive system is there. The characters are super expressive, have a lot of fun archetypes, a lot of fun things to aim for in the matches. Basically, this is about a home run on every front as you could want as far as gameplay goes. The game plays very, very well. And the third main section here, we talked World Tour, we talked Fighting Ground, which is a lot of the main verses. This is the Battle Hub where a lot of the online lives. And you can take your custom characters, and it can be straight out of the World Tour mode, and run around and do silly things. So there's arcade machines for you to play classic Capcom games, and you can also find some of those classic games in World Tour mode as well. And you can meet up, play other people. There's a lot of arcade cabinets to mess around with. If you've played or seen any of the betas, this is all the same stuff. And yes, the quality of the online play is immaculate. I already knew it from the older betas, but in this build of the game, the online is still very, very good. In the betas, I managed to do my small hillbilly town in Ontario, Canada, to Tokyo, Japan, and it played fantastically. And I can assure you that in the main build, the retail build, the online play will still be top class. Like the gentleman I was playing here was from Great Britain, and Ontario, Canada to Great Britain has a whole ocean between it. And even here, it was still fantastic. By the game's own standards, it said the connection wasn't great. It was like 3 bars out of 5. But Street Fighter 6's 3 bars out of 5 is better than just about every other game's 5 out of 5. I cannot speak highly enough about the quality of the netcode. We're finally there. We don't have to worry about online anymore. The game just works. And to note, this is where you do casual matches, ranked matches, all that kind of stuff. You can do casual and ranked matchmaking from the main menus. You do not have to enter the Battle Hub if you do not want to. So if for whatever reason that's a deal breaker, there you go, you don't have to worry about it. Whatever works best for you, you can choose your option that appeals to you. So we hit a lot of the big notes now, right? We talked World Tour mode. That's very interesting for what it is, certainly unlike anything else in Street Fighter history. We talked the actual core gameplay mechanics, the gameplay, the systems, the characters. That's all great. That's also about the best it's ever been. So that's really, really good. Online, also a series peak. But of course, this is a fighting game, so we have a lot of other things that fighting games do, like say arcade modes. While certainly the bulk of the story is in the World Tour mode, every character has an arcade mode to go through. We have a beginning and we have an ending for every character, like you would expect. We have combo trials for everyone. Everyone loves those combo trials. And while maybe they're not the halcyon days of the King of Fighters 13 combo trials that everyone goes gaga over, these are definitely the best combo trials that Street Fighter as a franchise has ever done. There's a lot more than just 10, depends character to character, but more than just 10. And a lot of them are very practical. They either teach you the basic building blocks of the hows and whys of combo structure, or, you know, here's an actual proper B&B, or when they're showing you outside edge situations, at the very least, is kind of informing you, here's a how and why you would want to use this move. And then we have the character tutorials. So this concept existed in Street Fighter V, where they're kind of telling you a little bit of how and why of the character, but it is much expanded from Street Fighter V. Like, yes, they'll tell you, okay, here's this move, here's why you want to use this move. That's great. But they also go a lot further, and they also give you a lot of great visual examples of situations where you would want to use said move as well. And not only does it run you through the basic moveset of each character and telling you what's up with those characters, it also has much more advanced situations. It could be, here's how to do neutral. In this specific case you're seeing on screen, for DJ, it shows you how to use the feints to, well, trip up your enemy. Either go for the gimmicks or go for the throws. This move is plus on block, by the way, so here's what you would want to use with this plus on block move. It gives you a lot of real world, real match, practical scenarios to go through. Like, it will actually teach you how to play the game, the things you actually want to go for and aim for to win a match. So, long story short, it's just full of stuff you actually really would want to know for whatever character you want to pick. So, that's mission accomplished, basically. And one final thing to talk about before we close out, the control schemes. So, you probably heard about it. It's a pretty big deal. There's classic, modern, and dynamic. Classic is, well, classic Street Fighter. It's the same it's always been. Dynamic, let's call it what it is. It's basically the button mashing mode. If you don't know what you're doing, you can pick dynamic and it'll basically mostly play the game for you. And we have modern controls. So what modern does is it turns Street Fighter from a 6-button game to a 4-button game, and with some modifiers as well. So it makes some move decisions for you. You don't necessarily have your entire moveset anymore. Every character, you can do most of your moves, your special moves and your normal moves, your regular buttons, but every character will be missing a thing or two. Some characters might be better in modern than other characters. To modify a lot of the moves, it's as simple as either you're neutral and you hit the button, you hit forward and you hit a button, or you hit back and you hit a button. And that can give you completely different normals or completely different special moves. No motions, no dragon punches, no spinning pile driver 360 motions needed for any of this stuff. And you also have the assist button, and when you hold the assist button, basically the game tries its best to do optimal combos for you. So you don't have to worry about the timing, you don't have to worry about the links or anything. You just hold the assist button, and you jam on whatever button of your choice, and it'll do all the work for you. And it'll also end in super moves if you happen to have the appropriate amount of meter. I started playing Street Fighter in 1991, so just to put it out there, this mode is not for me. However, most of you guys aren't as old as I am. So you know what? If you like Street Fighter and you are a little bit intimidated, this might be exactly what the doctor ordered, because it does make the general gameplay a lot easier. And that's about it for the review. So once again, thank you very much to Capcom for providing me an early copy of the game so I can have a look at it. All the footage you're seeing here was captured on a PlayStation 5. And just one last word, I guess. So this game is just plain fun. If you like fighting games, this is probably the game to get. Not only is this the start of the new generation of fighting games, as it were, this is also a banner runner for it. This is something special. Even so many little things, like say Street Fighter V, and even though Street Fighter V these days is a very good game, like admittedly, it's a very good game, people had issues with it out of the gate, right? A lot of those issues out of the gate of Street Fighter V are not issues here. This game has content. There is more to do than just go versus and online, and the online's a lot better than Street Fighter V's. And other little things too, even in its current good form, Street Fighter V, one of the complaints that dogged that game throughout all of its lifespan was just simple stuff like buttons. The range you can engage at each other when you hit medium punch, medium kick, roundhouse, whatever, it's so much better in Street Fighter 6 than it ever was in Street Fighter 5. All the buttons feel really big, like the old days of Street Fighter. It's just fun to just hit buttons at each other. Even quote-unquote short-range characters would be considered long-range characters in Street Fighter 5, so that's really, really good. The online is great, the Battle Hub is really fun, just being expressive with each other, messing around, that's really cool, I like that. Stuff like the clan system, in the build I have, it was not quite ready yet, so we'll see that at launch. But yeah, man, just a good game all around. Since this is a review, I will give it a review score. We don't do reviews often on this channel, but for Street Fighter, we'll make an exception. And out of the 3 possible tiers of a bronze gibbon, a silver chimp, or a golden gorilla, Street Fighter 6 gets a golden gorilla out of me. So Metacritic, that counts as a 10 out of 10, by the way. But you don't need my review score. What I've said in this video stands for itself, so if you like it, if it sounds good, then it probably will be a good game for you. Once again, I'm not the most objective reviewer here, because I love fighting games to death, and this game specifically I'll be covering on the channel in the following weeks, months, and years to come. So if you're looking for Street Fighter 6 info, guides, combos, anything, I'm probably one of the better channels for it, so like and subscribe and all that. But otherwise, my friends, we're at the end of the video for now. So Street Fighter 6, it's a true treat. It's the beginning of the new generation of fighting games, and I cannot wait for all you guys to get your hands on the game. It's really something special. And otherwise, since we're at the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.